And that's where we got to start. We got to start by getting stronger in the weight room in the off season. Our offensive line's got to be able to pick people up and move them. Defensively, our defensive line has to do a good job moving people and getting negative yardage plays, and that's what we'll go back to. And then our conditioning, our footwork, our change of direction, our tackling has to get better. Our blocking, our change of direction has to get better. And then also recruiting-wise, we've got to go out and get some explosive players. We got to be able to score in one play or two plays. And this year we really didn't have much outside of Burton. We didn't really have much lightning in a bottle, And we've got to go out and recruit and get those things. And then defensively, we've got to go out and get the tools that we need. And I felt like the kicking game was a little bit better here down the stretch, but we still need the guys on the special teams as well. So we've got a lot of upgrades to do recruiting-wise, strength-wise, and we'll head into the off-season. But this was that's one of the things that we talk about in the locker room is how much of a measuring tool this was for us going into the off-season, what we have to do in the weight room, how intense we have to be in there, and what kind of work we have to get done. And then also, obviously, with our conditioning program and then for all our coaches, the recruiting that we have to do. We've had great evaluation of our players, and now we can go back with the evaluation and say, okay, where do we got to get better and who do we got to get? So that's on us and that's on me. But we'll go back and our hope is that we'll do a great job and we won't have a season like this ever again.
Well, seeing you head coach Jody Ford, I echo that sentiment. You'll have a full offseason this time around to prepare. But before we get to what's coming back next year, why don't we get to this season? Some of the seniors are going to lose. You mentioned Burton Yosefa, Cleve Perriman, also a big part. And Burton finished this game over 100 yards yet again on 14 carries. And I guess we'll start there. There's a number of key seniors. You're not going to lose a lot numbers-wise, but you'll probably lose a lot experience-wise. So Burton, a good player for you.
Big time. I mean, and that's the thing. I think the thing that our guys need to take by example, a lot of the guys that are the great players are the guys that have worked all year round for us. And that's the thing. I don't feel like we have enough of our players right now working all year round. They do a pretty good job in our weight room when we have them. Sometimes they go home for Christmas break, and they've got to get better when they go home for Christmas break. And then also in the summertime when they go home, they have to get better at what they do in the summertime because our strength coach does a great job with them in the spring while we have them. And sometimes they go home in the summer and doesn't get it done. So that's something where they're going to understand, too, that they're going to do their work in the summer. They aren't going to be in our program, and that's a major change that we're making.
Well, Coach, Tim and I were talking post-game. We were thinking, what does Jody say to the team afterward? And I just had the idea, maybe just bring Trevor up and say, guys, look at this guy. This is what you want to be. I mean, you had said to us 4 years ago, you weren't even sure he was going to start, and he put in the work, and he got there, and I guess that's what you want out of the rest of your team.
That's exactly right. I mean, it was cool because even when you watch in the pregame, you can watch guys that are out here working in the pregame, and it's always the guys that do the work all year round and stuff. And I look out in the pregame on the field, and Trevor Robinson's out there before anybody, and Brian Plinge is out there before anybody, and Burton Yosefa is out there before anybody. And it's pretty easy to make all conference if you put in the work. I mean, if you really work, and that's the thing that we really are getting across to our team, and certainly in the off season, you're going to see a lot better team next year because these next 6 months they're going to work their tail off, and we're going to make them work. But like I said, in terms of talking about the seniors, and that was the first question you asked me was. Trevor's been great. We're going to miss Trevor. I'm going to know Trevor for the next 50 years. I mean, he's a great young man. And,
50 now. You said 20, 30. Well, now you're extending it.
Yeah, however long I'm lucky enough to live. So, but if you go by the Aztec calendar, we're going to be done here in December. So that's the thing is Trevor is great. Brian's great. I'm going to know him for a long time. And they're also guys that if they ever choose to get into coaching, who knows, maybe we'll be able to bring him back and have him coach with us someday. Brian's getting ready to do his student teaching and coaching over at Hannibal High School over the spring and everything. And who knows what those guys will go to. But one thing's for sure is we definitely want them around our program as much as possible. And hopefully that continue to be the case. Burton's the same way. No telling what he'll go on to. Just some great seniors and some great guys. And I'm sure there's plenty of guys I'm missing, the Tom Walkers of the world and Cody Davis and all those guys. But we've had a lot of tremendous football guys on our team that have set a good example, and now our younger players have stepped to the plate and do it. And that's the other thing, what they've left behind is we have a JV group that went 5-1 this year. And if you look at what we have in the younger classes, it's our job as a coaching staff to continue to develop those guys and get them better and get them stronger and all those things. And if we can do on JV and bring it to the varsity level, down the road, then we got a chance to do something special here. But again, we've got to put in the work because everybody in the hack is good. You can't have an off week, and if you have injuries, somebody else has to step up. So you can't just be, 22 deep. You got to be 44, really 60 deep sometimes on that bus to have a good solid team. And that's why it is about team.
Well, finally, we turn our attention to next year. In this game, you'd mentioned 13 turnovers in the last 3 games heading into this one. A turnover by Skylar Jamison, big, that got them those 7 points in the first half. You look at Borghardt, you look at Bahau coming back off of injuries next year to a team that maybe has probably learned some from these big games against ranked teams.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. I just really know that this is all going to be good for us in the long run. I mean, the thing that I compare it to is one of my good friends in coaching is Mel Churchman, who was at Northwest Missouri State. Well, everybody knows Northwest Missouri State is a monster now in football, right? But if you look at the first year that Mel took over, they went 1-9. And then they went 5-5 the next year, and then the next year they went 8-2, and then year 4 and 5 they had back-to-back national championships. That was kind of the pattern that I learned from Mel. Unfortunately, a guy that coached with Mel on those teams is our athletic director, Ken Oliver. So every day I pick his brain. How'd you guys do that? How did it start? How did you finish? Where'd you go with this, that, and the other? And I'm very blessed to have good people around me that can help me continue to grow as a head coach too, where we don't visit this season ever again, where we do continue to grow and improve and hopefully do what Mel did over there and create this team into a great team.
Well, Jody, thanks so much for your time all season long. I'm sure we'll see you again next year and hoping for a better season. A tough season with injuries, but again, a good year for your first program.
Very much so. Very proud of everybody. I want to thank all our parents too. My gosh, I got some of the greatest parents in the world that follow us around all the games and just are so supportive, and I want to thank them. Also in the last game, I want to thank my wife Jill and my kids and my family and all that stuff, because it's hard with Dad being away from home sometimes and stuff, and obviously to all the families of our coaches and everything. We have to put in a lot of work and do a lot of things, and I just want to thank everybody for their support. And also, obviously, this is my last season with President Inman, and I'm really sad about that. She put in 18 years at this school and really created some great things for us with our football program, so we're going to miss her. But just want to thank you guys for all your coverage, and man, I don't know what I'd do without you. You guys have been great, and looking forward to hopefully not just seeing you next year, but hopefully within the coming months and everything.